the reality is, if you look at the older books of fiqh, you see a kind of a different view, which is that no doubt that the majority of the ulama took to it being an obligation, but they put it in certain situations. The classic idea that we get fed today is there are two views. One is that it's fard, wajib, one is that it's mustahab. But the reality is, if you look at the older books of fiqh, you see a kind of a different view, which is that no doubt that the majority of the ulama took to it being an obligation, but they put it at certain situations. Meaning, if the woman is older and there is no fear of fitna, then many of the earlier fuqaha, like the Hanafiya and others, they took it back to being mustahab. But if she was younger, or there's a fear of fitna, then they took it to be wajib or fard. So this is a very classic view that we see. Many of the ulama took it to be mutlaqan, to be fard, as Sheikh Abdul Aziz ibn Baz, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan, Sheikh Ibn Jibreen, many of the great contemporary scholars, and many earlier, even many aqwal from Imam Ahmad and Imam Malik, where they said even the nail of the woman should be covered and so on. These were the early classic scholars that took this view. Many other ulama, they took it to be mustahab, and from the contemporary ulama, Sheikh Albani being a well-known example. Personally, the evidences to show its obligation to me are the strongest. Those like the hadith of Asma radiallahu anha, where Rasulullah talked about the face and hands. We know Khalid ibn Dariq never met Aisha radiallahu anha, so that hadith is weak. And so on. And the other ahadith, when you look at the hadith from Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma in the tafsir of Surah Al-Ahzab, where he talks about the niqab and he demonstrates it and everything, well, they're very clear and strong. So, to me, those evidences are stronger. Many ulama, like Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen has written a risala on this, and Sheikh Ibn Baz, they're very clear with the evidences. But let's take it, even if somebody takes it to be mustahab, it's still good. Mustahab doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, right? So, that's something you have to keep in mind. Now to take it to the, so just to answer, to me, the stronger opinion that it's wajib, especially when there are places of fitna. Like, when you go to the haram nowadays, people say, oh, in the haram you don't wear niqab. No. Niqab, a piece of cloth, is a different issue. Covering your face is a different issue. Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, we took the khimar and covered our face anytime non-mahram came close to us. In the haram right now, non-mahram are always close to you. So to cover your face, even if you don't do it with a piece of cloth called the niqab, but with your khimar, with your cloth, covering your face, tying it, pinning it, is very important in the haram, because the fitna that can happen. If somebody is young, if somebody's, even if they're not necessarily young, but there's a chance of fitna, then no doubt, even those ulama that take it to be mustahab in that situation would consider it wajib. So that is the safest and best opinion, that you wear the niqab as an obligation. If you take the view that it's mustahab, and I have respect for those scholars and people that take that view, you still should do it because it's mustahab. You want to do it. You don't want to make salah and fard and just be like, I'm just going to do the bare minimum. I'm just reading al-Fatiha, no surah afterward. I'm just doing one subhan rabbil azim, not three. No, you want to make your salah beautiful. You want to do the hijab the best. As men, we don't say, okay, the minimum awrah is just from the navel to the knee, so I'm going to go to the masjid and some shorts and a t-shirt. No, we wear the best, to try to wear the most concealing, the most haya, for men even, we try to wear clothes that have the most dignified manner, right? It's mustahab. So even if you take the mustahab, you should do it. Okay? Now to the second question, that if the father is not allowing you to wear the niqab, you should advise your father and tell him that obedience is only in what's good and right. If your parents tell you to not do something that's a part of Islam, then this is wrong. Right? Even if it's mustahab. And if your parents tell you don't pray nafal salawat, or don't go for umrah, that's a nafal umrah, that's wrong. They shouldn't. And you should not obey them in that, because that is in a going khalif, going against the deen. Unless they have some reason, unless there's like maybe danger in your society, like real danger, not like, oh, people are going to mock you, but maybe, like after 9/11 in America, there was a time that it was very dangerous for Muslim sisters. We understand that situation. And in that situation, if they rolled it back a little, that's understandable, right? Because there's threat to life. But after that, nowadays, you don't have that situation. So in that situation, you should advise your parents, first off, nicely, that look, I want to do something that's good. Even if it's mustahab, it's something good. Why would you want to stop me from doing something good? And tell them that obedience is that which is good and right. There is no obedience to the makhluk in disobedience to the khaliq. Eh? Even in things that are mustahab, you should try to do them. Now, if there is going to be harm to you, like maybe your parents will get abusive, or maybe they'll, the problems are unbearable, then khalas, you wear the best you can wear. Maybe wear a mask or whatever you can until you get married, and then you keep your niyyah to wear the full proper Islamic hijab. Tayyib.
Early question: is crypto haram?
Regarding cryptocurrency, we get this question all the time. To be very honest, I'm still not very clear on how crypto works. I get a lot of answers. I've talked to computer scientists, and almost everybody gives me a different answer. Blockchain, I get it. Till today, if we say who developed crypto, there's no answer. Who regulates it? Nobody. Well, again, I understand how blockchain computing works, but as somebody who used to program, I can tell you that if I made a program, I can put backdoors into it, and you can blockchain it all you want, right? So, how does that regulate? For example, if crypto is truly not managed by anybody, how does the selling and buying work? Meaning, how do you mine? Like again, that's a strange concept. That if you only have a certain amount, how can you be mining? You keep pushing into making more, and then who regulates that? Yes, you were able to mine and unable to mine, and so on. So there's a lot of gray area here. Having said that, I don't see it much different than regular currencies, except one issue, which is that with regular currencies, you do have some bank somewhere, some government backing it. Otherwise, that piece of paper is worth nothing. And crypto, you have nothing backing it. No gold, no silver, nothing backing it. That's why you have these crazy, it goes up to 60,000, and then the next day it's at 30,000. I mean, yeah, some people became millionaires through it, and some people became broke. And I know of cases that people committed suicide because they lost so much money in it. I'm not comfortable with it. I'm not saying it's haram, because to be honest, I don't see it a lot different than regular currencies, because regular currencies also don't have gold backing it anymore, and so on. The only thing is, regular currencies, at least you have a bank, or a bank of a government, not like Chase Bank. I mean, like the Bank of Russia backing the ruble. I don't know what that really means nowadays, but you do have that. With crypto, you don't. I mean, if somebody was able to crazy hack it tomorrow, nobody would really control that hack. So I would say it's one of those dubious gray areas. Better to stay away from it. Allahu alam.